My test. Okay, just checking if my posters are gonna work. Good evening, gladiators in suits. Oh, di ba? I'm online. Because I promised I was gonna be online this 11 a.m. today, but I overslept. So I wasn't ready for this morning. Sorry for that. But I am online now. We're gonna be talking about a very, I think, one of the most popular topics. I think also one of the most helpful topics we can talk about. And so I'll talk about best practices for job hunting. Okay. The reason why I'm choosing this is because the year is about to end. And usually folks tender their resignation after December or by January for a lot of reasons. Number one, they think it's the start of the year. Number two, people wait until their December bonuses or their 13th month or 14th month pay are given so that they do not lose it if ever they resign prematurely or that it's only given prorated. So that's the reason why that's why January and December usually are the time of vacancies. So we'll talk about that. But before we do that, let's do, oh, there's no audio. Wait. Sorry. TikTok folks, you know why there's no audio? Because my microphone, sorry for that. Let me, ayan. Okay, is it on? Can you please give me a thumbs up if it's now on? Ayan, pinagalitan tuloy ako ng folks. Sorry for TikTok folks. So the topic for tonight is best practices for job hunting. I'm just going to repeat what I said a while ago. The reason why we're choosing this is because December and January usually are the months when there are a lot of vacancies. It's when people quit their jobs if they've had enough or they want to seek greener pastures because it's the start of the year or people are waiting for the end of the year for their 13th or 14th month bonuses. And usually, if you resign prematurely, some companies forfeit it. Okay, so we'll talk about that. So here's my request. I want you to also share your best practices for job hunting. And the reason why I'm asking you to do so is because I'm not the only resource person here. You guys are also experts on your own because you've probably, especially for those who have done moved out to different companies over and over again, you probably have learned a thing or two about job hunting. So I'm going to be asking you to please type that in the chat box. I'm going to be reading your comments and then we'll share and debate and discuss it with other participants. Okay? As usual, we're going to be giving away free tickets as prizes to our participants in the middle of this quick live stream. All you need to do is to share this live stream on your feed. What are the tickets we'll be giving away? We'll be giving away tickets. If you happen to be from sales or marketing, we'll be giving away tickets to our upcoming workshop, and that is Elevate, happening at the Philippine Stock Exchange Tower on November 18. And that's happening in the morning. And then I'm also going to be giving away tickets for the other workshop. It's a 3-hour Q&A session about your career dilemma. Also same day, but in the afternoon. Folks on Facebook, LinkedIn, and YouTube, if you're wondering what those workshops are, you might be missing it out, but it's right in front of you. These are all the topics that we're going to be doing. However, for today's session, I'm going to be giving away tickets only for the November 18 workshop. Okay? I hope that's cool with everyone. So you have to share this on your live stream, on your feed. And we will find a way if you have shared it because it's going to be displayed beside your name. Okay? Let me answer this na because this is a very interesting one. Cyrus Gomez on LinkedIn is asking, what are your thoughts on recruiters ghosting their candidates? Before I answer this, if you happen to be a candidate and the recruiter is not responding to you anymore, sometimes you need to backtrack because recruiters do have a set of guidelines and principles that they follow. For example, if you look at a job posting, they usually indicate only successful candidates or only shortlisted candidates are going to be notified, which means if you have not received a word or two, you are not part of the shortlisted candidates. Why do recruiters do that? So that it's more efficient for them. I can totally understand, and I hope you guys also understand. Recruiters have to face thousands, if not hundreds, of candidates. So if you're telling me that I have to message you one by one, that's not going to help me get my job done. Remember, the ultimate role of a recruiter is to recruit. Okay? The idea of having to pamper and cradle an unsuccessful applicant and tell them the reasons why they did not get the job and what they can improve on, for me, is a secondary role. It is not and should not be a priority of the company. If they do, it would be amazing. It would be an ideal situation. But if you're running a multinational company with thousands of candidates, hundreds of positions to fill in, do you really expect that these guys are going to be contact you one by one? And even if they contact you one by one, likely that is a machine. That's a programmed software talking to you. Okay? So I'm saying this because some people think that when the recruiter does not talk back to them anymore, they feel that they are quote and unquote ghosted. And maybe you're not. It's just that you were unsuccessful candidates. Okay. However, if the recruiter did not say that they will not shortlist the candidate, should they still contact folks if they did not make it? Yes, ideally. Okay. What are the other definitions of ghosting? I think the bad ghosting that I wanna touch on is the kind of ghosting wherein they already told you that you got the job. They even ask you to review a contract. And then after a few days, they will just ghost on you because probably the position got dissolved, something happened to the company, and they did not even clarify why the position did not pursue anymore. So, Cyrus, yun yung klaseng ghosting that I think is bad, that I think we should change. But for ordinary positions wherein you sent a resume, you did not get a feedback, I will not take it personally. In fact, I will be totally understanding. And because it's what the industry does, it is a practice to make things more efficient. Julier on LinkedIn, do you sell your books on a bundle? Yes. You can go to our website. You can go to our Lazada and Shopee. We sell the books as a bundle of 3. We also sell the books as a bundle of 4. If in case folks are asking what are those books, if it's your first time to catch us on TikTok or on any platform, these are our best-selling books, and they are available in National Bookstore. They're available on Fully Booked. Uh, we've been I've authored 4 books so far since 2013. The first book was when I won the Apprentice Asia, and then our last one is Everything Will Be All Right, which we just launched last December. Okay. Ooh, Zimzimi says, I asked my team to take the mental health. Is this the online course? Best training we had for this year. Thank you for sending your folks to that. Okay, M is asking if it's more than the company's budget. If the expected salary of the applicant is beyond the company's budget, will the applicant be automatically rejected? High chance, yes, because budgets are what companies follow, what recruiters follow. However, I've had many situations in my career, and also I've had many friends in my career wherein because they were just so damn good in what they do, the company gave in because they want the talent so bad. Or I'll give an example. I know a friend wherein she already has a car plan from a previous company. And when she moved to a new company, she asked the new company, can I just bring in my old car so that you don't need to get me a new car? And can I depreciate the car in just 2 or 3 years rather than the usual 5 years so that if I stay in the company for more than 3 years, I can already bring it home? And they allowed it because they just want that employee so bad. So it is possible, not probable, but still possible. Krister Miroy, another ghosting experience from 2 companies I previously applied. They tell you that they will send a link to their exam, and then after a week of follow-up, wala pa rin. You know, Krister, if a company does this to me, it's a red flag because that means they don't take the recruitment seriously or they're just too busy and overloaded. And that's not a good sign because if your HR as a department is already overloaded, paano pa kaya yung mga departments who are in the commercial realm, for example? Ooh, Jamil is asking, in a technical resume, how many pages is good? When you say technical, is it because your position involves, let's say, engineering or doctorate, right? Or scientific position? I don't think there is a limit to it because if you have a lot of credentials, if you have authored a lot of journals, a lot of published items in journals, I think you should display them. However, let me qualify, if it's your typical resume, 2 pages is already your acceptable number of pages. 3 pages, I think that's the limit that I can give. 4 or 5, I'm gonna question the ability of this person to keep things compact. Plus, I'm also gonna question if everything in the resume was really that important. Especially if you're not even in a senior position. If you are a fresh graduate or if you have only, let's say, had 5 years of experience, I don't think that merits 4 pages at all. It's not like you're gonna have lots of spaces to fill in for your job experience, etc. No? Remember, always put yourselves into the shoes of the recruiter. A recruiter has hundreds or thousands of other applicants to screen. So if you're giving them a reason to feel exhausted because you're giving them too much to digest, then they will not take, you know, they're probably going to brush it. And I know it's wrong because recruiters are supposed to take a lot of time looking at each resume. But can you really blame them when there are so many people applying for a very coveted job? Okay, I would go for 1 or 2 pages max. If it's a very technical position, I would go for 4. 5 perhaps is pushing it further, but 3 to 4 would be a sweet spot. Okay, John, here's a question on YouTube. This is from Myrene. What do you think of using AI to create resumes? I don't have any issues with it as long as you double check the output. Because remember, an AI is still not gonna have the human touch. For example, madaling malaman kung AI written ang isang paragraph kapag masyado siyang mahaba. Notice this. Can I get an exclamation mark if you agree with me? You'll have a good idea if a paragraph was written by AI because it's a very long sentence. It's very complicated. It's using highfalutin words. It's made to impress. So if you notice that the AI generated statement is that long, you might want to edit it because you're giving it away easily. And if the recruiter thinks or suspects that you used AI, it can swing both ways. Some recruiters will say, they use AI, therefore they're very knowledgeable with the technology. Or number two, the traditional ones might think they're using AI, but they did not even check their own work properly. So do some proofreading. Okay. Also, if you're putting job descriptions about your past work experience, if it's a paragraph long, I'm not gonna read it if I was the recruiter because you're wasting my time. If you're telling me what you did in your past job, I want bullet points. 2 to 3 bullet points. What did you achieve? Give me numbers. So for example, if you were a salesperson, give me numbers to show that you have done so well in this position and say something like achieved the budget or the target by 123% in just a span of 8 months. Or you can say, drove the business by acquiring 452 new clients in a span of 3 years. If you give me those kinds of sentences, it will give me an idea how exactly successful you are. Kasi yung mga iba sa mga resumes nila, napaka-generic ng statements. Statements like, acquired new customers for the job. That's a cut and paste description. Anyone can write that, but no one can claim easily that they've acquired 452 new acquisitions, for example. Okay? AI, unfortunately, does not yet have that full intelligence to craft your statements that way. So double check. It's okay to use it. You can use it to trigger your imagination. You can use it to help you start if you're stuck with a writer's block, but do not 100% rely on it. Oh, I like this term from Joanne. Joanne says, It is made to impress. This is the operative word when using AI to draft your resume. Kaya need to edit talaga. Thank you, Joanne. I agree with that. Mr. A is asking on TikTok, is it okay to say 110% of the actual salary to employer when they ask for your asking salary and add up 10%? I would not give a specific number. If they ask me what my salary is, I would give them a range. And the reason for that is because it gives me space to elbow and negotiate further. If I give them my specific salary, it will make their brain anchor on that specific number and they will only play around that number, which might be unfair to you. Okay? So even if you tell me it's 110%, that's you telling me that you have to add 10% to a specific number. It might not give you a strategic space to negotiate. Okay? I also think it's a red flag if the employer is specifically asking for your last salary or is specifically asking for your last month's payslip. Because that means that this employer only wants to base your future salary on your existing salary, which I disagree. If I'm coming into a new company, my salary should be relatively higher, staple 10 to 30%. And the reason for that is because I'm now bringing in new set of skills. I'm bringing in my network. If I happen to come from a different industry, all the more, because that means I can bring in best practices that none of your employees currently have. And this is why the best companies will balance internal hires and promotions versus external hires and promotions so that they can get the best of both worlds. Meron silang mga empleyado na matagal na sa company, therefore they're already masters and experts, but they don't want the same kind of thinking and the same kind of culture because that means pare-pareho lang silang mag-isip. So they also prefer 50-50 or 70-30. Sometimes a big chunk comes from the external hires as well. Okay, let's read some more. I'm trying to read some messages, some questions that are have not been asked because some of them have already been, just so I don't become redundant. Okay, LinkedIn user, let me display this. What if a candidate is applying for the position of a recruiter role in the end? How will it work for both ends? I don't think there's any difference to it. As long, again, whatever job you're applying for, there are two things to keep in mind. Number one, you have to specify both in the interview and in the resume that your past experience fits in to what the job is looking for. Okay. And again, this is a classic answer. If you don't have any past experience because you're a fresh grad, then you have to demonstrate it using your co-curricular activities or any organizations that you have landed on or any internships you have landed on in the past. Okay, that's one. Number two, in your job interview, the interview is no longer just about the technical skills because likely these technical parts are already revealed in your resume. The interview is more of understanding your personality. So, kumbaga, this is like the Q&A portion wherein we identify if the Miss Universe candidate is charming, is credible, is believable, for example. The interview usually is reflected by your choice of words, by how you smile, by how you look into the eyes of the recruiter, by how your hands work, how quick you are in answering the question, for example. Okay? So sometimes the resume is so good, but the interview is so bad that now the recruiter thinks that there is a disconnect and maybe this candidate is inflating or exaggerating their achievements in the resume because I do not see that reflected on the way they speak. Is that unfair? Yes. It is unfair that people judge your intelligence based on how you speak, but that is life. Unfortunately, can I get an exclamation mark if you agree? That is life. And this is why I often tell people if you need to invest on one thing about yourself professionally, it's your communication skills. May joke nga, 'di ba? Ang joke is, have you ever met someone who is so smart but they cannot convey their ideas? And then ang joke is, yes, have you met an engineer? Right? That's the joke. And the joke is because sometimes people who are more into the technical kind of work are not good in expressing themselves. And I can attest to this. My father is an engineer. He's not as good in expressing. He's good in writing, he's good in typing, but he's not good in expressing his skills. So sometimes it can be tricky because when you talk to a client, ang ganda-ganda ng idea mo, you have the most amazing idea, but the client does not appreciate your idea because they can't visualize what you're trying to say. Okay? So manage that part as well. Jewel Son on LinkedIn is asking, by the way, folks on LinkedIn are the most active ones who are asking questions, most intelligent questions as well. Jewel Son is asking, John, is it proper for a subordinate to ask their managers to quantify the totality of their contributions every year in terms of revenues so that they can put it on their resume and sell themselves realistically? Subordinate to ask their managers to quantify. I'm not quite sure what Juleson is trying to say here, but if I was the leader and manager and I am talking to my subordinates and my direct reports, before the start of the year, they are aware of all the metrics that they need to meet. And that those set of metrics already quantify what are the expectations from you. If I from sales, do you need 100 million pesos or 25 million pesos? If I'm doing reports, how prompt do you want them to be? Do you want 100% submission of reports? If I'm someone who has a cost center, do you want 80% achievement of the budget? All these things. Ooh. Facebook question from 𝗕𝗲𝘀𝘁 𝗣𝗿. Should you choose a job with a higher salary but long commute or job close to home but lesser salary? Of course, in the real world, I think it's possible to achieve both. Okay? I need to say that because I don't want us to believe that everything in life needs to have a trade-off. There are moments in life where you can have both. Okay? But 𝗕 theoretically is asking, what if I have to choose between a high salary and long commute or close to home but lesser salary? Ah, can I qualify my answer here? And that for me is, I think it depends on your age, and I think it depends on how you want something so bad. If you happen to be young and you can afford to be on the road 2 hours or 4 hours every day because you still have the energy and the patience to be stuck in a car or in the MRT for 2 hours because you have your smartphone anyway and you can play games, you can talk to friends, or you can watch live streams like this, I think it's totally fine. Because even if you're wasting that amount of time on the road, you're making the most out of it. And yet at the same time, you're earning a lot of money. However, if you happen to be a parent and your kids are always waiting for you and you always get home so late because you have to spend so much time on the road, then I think you can sacrifice a portion of that in exchange for a lesser salary, and yet you're still close to home. So that can be, again, it will depend now on the context of what you're looking for. If you're after quality of life, hindi mo naman talaga gusto na maging ma-promote. You're not that, you're not particular about getting promoted too quickly. Steady ka lang, diba? Sucks lang, as they say. Then I don't think you need to ask for a higher salary, but you have your quality of life intact. You get to go home early, you get to spend more time with your family, you get to rest, you get to sleep more because you don't need to rush way, way early in the morning. So there. So kunyari ako, when I was in my 20s, I think I'll be fine to do a long commute. But now I'm nearing my 40s, I'm not gonna spend 2 to 3 hours of my life on the road. I'm willing, given the theoretical question, I'm willing to sacrifice a little bit of my salary in exchange to being able to be home in, right now for me, my definition of commute, 30 to 40 minutes. Anything beyond 1 hour, this is just me. It's not worth living. I'm gonna use that term. It's not worth living for me. Okay, for me. Okay, Gray is asking this on YouTube. What job interview tips do you have for a candidate seeking a leadership role without prior leadership or management experience? Okay, good question, because that assumes that if you don't have any past experience, you're not anymore fit to become a leader. I'm going to challenge this philosophy because leadership does not necessarily mean that you need to have subordinates. It doesn't mean that you need to have direct reports. Leadership is influence. So when I get interviewed, and I even if I don't have direct reports, I will talk about how I was able to influence, for example, my colleagues and other people in other departments. They do not report to me, and because they don't report to me, they will not necessarily follow my request. But because I'm good in influencing, I'm able to motivate them. I'm able to communicate clearly what are the repercussions and the incentives if they get the job right. I'm able to manage relationships. That means that even if I don't have direct reports, I possess leadership skills. So in job interview, I want you to prepare before the interview. I want you to prepare 2 or 3 stories. So write it down. Think about that story that happened in the past. Think about that project wherein you were coordinating with people outside your department. And then try to create a story on how you were able to influence the members of that department to get the project done successfully, even if they do not report to you. That for me is leadership story. So focus on that story. Donald Pasco. Okay, this is a quick one. What's the percentage that you are gonna get hired if you were scheduled for a final interview? I can't put a number on this, but I will say this. If you are already selected for a final interview, that means you likely are a very small number. 4, 5 people, could be 10. Depends on how senior the position is. But remember, there have been layers in the past. It started with what? Resumes first. And then after the resumes, they shortlisted the applicants. And then from the applicants, they have to do a series of interviews. It could be 1 or 2 interviews. So by that time, they've already trimmed a lot of other folks. If it's the final interview, and sometimes you have to ask, when you say final, does this mean that after this you are selecting a candidate? Then that means I think it's a 1 digit number. It can't be 20 people. It can't be 34 finalists. Likely it could be 4, 5, 6 or 8 nga. I think that's stretching it eh. Less than 5 would be my range for this. Okay, let's ask something from TikTok. Someone's asking from TikTok. This is from Abigail. Okay, John, I've already finished my interview. When is the best time to follow up after the interview? So 2 things. One, after the job interview, it does not hurt to ask that recruiter and tell them, thank you for the opportunity to be interviewed. May I ask, when are you going to contact the successful candidates? Dapat dun palang tinatanong mo na, and you have the right to ask that. Okay? And the reason for that is because you will have an idea when are they deciding, so that you don't become paranoid. Because some people, and this is true, some people really can't sleep properly because they are just so anxious about the decisions, and it happens for days or weeks. It's not going to be good for your mental health. Some people get constipated, some people get diarrhea. It happens. Gonna get an exclamation mark if you can relate to that. So sometimes, in order for you to take away that anxiety, be in control by asking for that information. Okay. Are you notifying only the successful candidate? Will you also be notifying if I did not make it? And some of them will say, to make it efficient, we will only notify the successful candidates. So that makes it clear for you. If they did not contact me after the last day of the filing of application, okay, I understand. Then I don't need to follow up anymore, because that's going to be crystal clear for my end. Okay? I'd rather do that rather than be silent during the job interview and then second guess, have they made a decision? It's already 1 week, it's already 2 weeks. Right? You have all the rights to ask. So ask that instead. Mr. A is asking also on TikTok, is there any time, whether it's on weeks or months, to let go of your application? Okay, one tip, if you're applying on JobStreet or on LinkedIn, check the deadline of filing. Check the deadline of filing, because that means the last day is the day when the company is already turning in It's the first day will they will turn in all the applications to HR. Some HR are so efficient kahit wala pang deadline, they are already starting to interview people. Some HR, on the other hand, after lang nilang makuha lahat ng applications, that's the only time that they will sort out. So that depends. But knowing when the deadline of application is will give you an idea. If, let's say, you have applied in March, but the deadline of application is on April 30, then that means if you have not heard from them by April 1 or 2, it does not mean that you are already rejected. It only means that the company is still waiting for the deadline until April 30. Nagkataon lang, maaga ka nag-submit ng resume. So you have to wait. By the time April 30 comes in and then comes another 2 weeks or 3 weeks and still you don't get any notification, you can assume that you were not taken in. One more, and this happens also often, sometimes magtataka ka, the deadline of the application is April 30, you have not heard any from the recruiter, and then 2 months later, the same position comes out again. What could that possibly mean? It means that they probably interviewed already some people, but none of them were satisfying, and so they're opening again the interview, the application for more people. Should you try? Maybe yes. Of course, nakakapagod mentally and physically, but that could be another window for you to join. Okay? I will assume that if I did not get contacted by the recruiter 3 weeks to 4 weeks after the deadline of application, then that means that I can move on to other positions. Okay? Can I also challenge this? When you say I will move on from the application, ang assumption kasi nito is that it's the only application that you are vying for, which I disagree. If you are job hunting, can I say this and can you please promise this to me? There is no such thing as applying only to 2 or 3 or 5 companies. That's not gonna make the cut. Can I get an exclamation mark if you can promise that to me? If you're applying for a job, aim for a minimum of 10 companies. I would go for 20. I would go for 25. And I know that can sound painful, but please remember that applying for a job is like a raffle. And a raffle is all about the volume of your raffle entries. The number of raffle entries you put increases your chance of winning. If you happen to be in the Philippines, specifically in Metro Manila, with one of the largest populations in Asia in terms of competitors for the same job, it's more cutthroat. So even if you're the best person in town to get the job, you are competing against a sea of dozens and dozens of other applicants. You cannot just bank your application into one position. So may isa kang gustong kumpanya, wag mong ilagay lahat ng eggs mo sa isang basket. Apply in multiple companies. More raffle entries, higher chances of winning. Okay? Aliza Alvarez on Facebook says, Yay, I was finally able to catch your live tonight. Thank you for joining us. Is it really harder to find a job when you're in your late 30s? Is the competition tighter? Says Sparking Nostalgia. It will depend on the position you're vying for. If you're vying for a leadership position, I think being in your 30s should not be the toughest thing to do because that means you have a level of seniority and that will depend on your experience also. Okay? It is possible that if the position is skewed towards younger folks, the recruiter is going to be biased to only hire younger folks. Diba? So it can swing both ways. If the position is a senior position, disadvantage kung bata ka because they will think that you don't have enough experience yet. So it will depend on the position and the industry that you're working for. I'll give another example. The telco industry, all or mostly Silicon Valley companies or tech-driven industries, pansin nyo, most of their employees are relatively younger. And the reason for that is because the younger you are, there's a higher chance that you're more tech savvy, you're open to understanding technology. And so likely when you submit a resume, one of the things that they're going to look at is your year of birth. So it is possible that they can discriminate against you. Mary Rosas on TikTok, do you advise applying for a job where you don't fit all of the qualifications? I think so. You don't have to, meet 100% of the criteria. And sometimes there are certain skills of yours that can compensate some of the weaknesses. So go for it. What's the cost? You're just gonna hit a button lang naman eh. Diba? My only request is, sometimes resumes have to be customized. What do I mean? You're applying, kunyari na nga, let's say for example that you are a salesperson. Kunwari lang nga, hypothetical, ang trabaho mo in the past is ikaw ang kumakausap sa mga supermarkets kasi distributor ka ng gatas. Kunwari lang nga, so milk. You are the milk sales agent of a company. Let's say for example, the company is you're selling Sustagen, Promil, whatever it is. So you're talking to different supermarkets, right? Now, you want to move to a different company. And your experience is sales, specifically talking to distributors and to supermarket agents. Now, you're applying to two other companies. Si Company A, kilala na nagbebenta na sila also online. Si Company B, kilala siya na nagbebenta sila ng gatas also abroad. So when I say you have to customize, you have to change your resume in a way na, kunyari, sa Company A, if they are an online-driven company, dapat yung resume mo, it's customized that it will strongly highlight that you are also good in digital platforms. So for example, if you have a past project in your former company where you had to lead an entire team on uploading the products on Lazada and Shopee to sell the milk, you have to highlight that in the resume. Dapat nasa first page yan. Dapat may specific statement na spearheaded a project that allowed the company to launch the milk products on Lazada and Shopee. Tapos may nakalagay na, in the first 3 months, achieved sales target by 28%, 128%, etc., etc. So you see what I mean here? I customize it because likely this company is online driven. They're going to be more biased into recruiting people with online mastery, with online skills. If the other company is driven more into selling abroad, maghanap ka ng experience mo in the past. Huwag mag-iimbento ha. Maghanap ka, if ever you have, in the past that you had a project involving talking to a foreigner, talking to a different organization abroad, whatever it is, that will showcase that you know how to communicate and you know how to negotiate even if the person is not from the same country. So dapat naka-highlight yon sa first part ng resume mo. Okay? Can I get an exclamation mark if you appreciate what I mean here? So even if you have the same resume, you need to have multiple versions of the resume because recruiters are not going to be from the same mold. They're all going to have different particular items to look for. Okay? I think we can give away now our prizes. We're halfway through our session. So, can I get the letter R if you're ready for our online contest? In this online contest, we'll be asking you a trivia question. Whoever wins, we're going to be giving you free tickets to our upcoming workshops. And our workshops are going to be conducted on November 18, Saturday at the Philippine Stock Exchange Tower. We have two workshops. Workshop number 1 is intended for sales and marketing and entrepreneur folks. And this is virtual and remote selling techniques in the digital era. So this is a 3-hour workshop. The ticket is worth 1,299 pesos per person. The second workshop is in the afternoon, 2 o'clock to 5 o'clock. That is our Career Clinic Live. It's similar to what I'm doing in the live stream right now, but it's a 3-hour session. It's a therapy session where I gather questions from the participants about their career dilemmas, and then we share our thoughts, our best practices, and perspectives. Plus, you also get to share your answers and your thoughts with other participants in the room. Okay? So that also is worth 1,299 pesos per person. So I'll be picking some winners in all of the platforms. Dalawa sa Facebook, dalawa sa LinkedIn, dalawa sa YouTube. I'm also going to be picking 5 winners from TikTok because we love our TikTok folks, and thank you for the 4,600 likes that we have so far. All you need to do to be eligible to join our contest is to share this on your feed. Okay, so I'm going to give you a few seconds now. If you have not yet shared this live stream on your feed, please do so. I'm going to give you a few seconds for that because you will not be eligible. We will not call you out if you don't share this. Okay? So ulitin ko lang for our TikTok folks. For our folks on Facebook, LinkedIn, and YouTube, these two, see that? These two are our two workshops. Papamigay namin ng tickets. For folks on TikTok, that's the first one. That's Elevate. That's on November 18. And then the second one is this. That's in the afternoon. Okay? You guys are ready? So what is the question? It's a usual trivia question. General information. Yesterday, we had a trivia about food. Okay? So my question now happens to be about, okay, because I love my dogs. My question is about our canine friends. Okay? So I'm going to ask a question about dogs and let me know. Type your answer in the chat box. Okay? So it's a multiple choice question. Okay? Para some people can mas interactive tayo. Okay? So I'm going to give you 3 options of food items. One of those food items is the only food item that you can feed and give to dogs. The other options are poisonous or potentially lethal if you give them to dogs. Can I get an exclamation mark if you're clear? So I'm going to give you 5 options. One of them is the only one that you can give to them. The other are potentially lethal, especially if you give them in high doses. Okay? So my options are this. So type the letter of your correct answer. Okay? Letter A, onion. Letter B, chocolate. Letter C, grapes. Letter D, banana. Okay? And then letter E, you guys are ready? Letter E, chicken bones. Okay? Letter E, chicken bones. So please give me the correct answer. So we said onion, chocolate. Shucks, ano yung pangatlo? Grapes. Letter C is grapes. Letter D is banana. And letter E is our chicken bones. Okay? Wow, ang bilis sumagot ah. So, the correct answer, ladies and gentlemen, let me call out the winners now. The correct answer is letter D. The banana is the only one that you can give to them and it's safe for them. All the rest are lethal. Okay? So, yung mga iba nagbibigay ng table food sa mga aso nila, make sure that your onion is not with a high dose and you should not be giving it to them too frequently also to your dogs. Okay, chicken bones. Bones, we often think it's okay, but sometimes the bones get stuck into their intestines and it pierces their intestines, leading to bleeding also. Okay, chocolate is also a bad thing. There is something, I forgot the name, but there is a chemical compound in the chocolate that is so poisonous to them. Same thing also with the grapes. Okay, so I'm saying this also because sometimes when we often see a lot of stray dogs on the streets, sometimes we often think that what we eat is what they can also eat. And sometimes helping them even makes things worse. Especially pag kunyari nasa 7-Eleven ka or when you're in a restaurant and you're buying something and you think this is the easiest thing to do, sometimes it can even kill the dog. So be careful. Okay? So, who are the winners? Let me call out first the winners on Facebook. 2 winners tayo ha. 2 winners on Facebook, 2 winners on LinkedIn, 2 winners on YouTube, and then 5 winners on TikTok. My winners are the following. The first one is 𝗬𝗲𝘀 on Facebook. Congratulations. My second winner on Facebook is 𝗲𝗲𝘀 𝗳𝗏. Congratulations. My next winner on YouTube is 𝗳𝚻Lynn. Congratulations, 𝗳𝚻Lynn. Another winner on LinkedIn is 𝗲𝗲𝘀𝗁. 𝗲𝗲𝘀𝗁, congratulations. And then one more winner on YouTube, Cesar Gonzalez. Congratulations, Cesar Gonzalez. And then last winner on LinkedIn, ladies and gentlemen, is Janmiel Anyayahan. Congratulations. Janmiel Anyayahan. Now, let's call out our winners now on TikTok. Okay? TikTok, my winners are the following. And remember, guys, this is what comes out first on my screen. Okay? So please don't dispute kasi sometimes ibang lumalabas sa screen sa screen ko. So my first winner on TikTok is 𝗕𝗲𝘀𝘁. My second winner is Allen the Door. Congratulations. My third winner is It's Me 𝗬𝐶𝗍𝐵𝗰𝗲𝘀. Hirap naman ang pangalan. My fourth winner is Mary Rosas, and my fifth winner is Safe Kadito. Congratulations to all the 5 winners on TikTok. How do you claim your prize? So, TikTok folks, I'm showing it now on the screen. That is the link, johnyaboth.com/free. Please go to this website. Please leave your email address and your name, and you have to indicate your prize. Now, for TikTok, what do you get? You get 5 free tickets. 5 free tickets for both the 2 workshops that I just mentioned a while ago. That's on November 18th. Okay? johnyaboth.com/free. For those who won on Facebook, LinkedIn, and also YouTube, I am also typing it here now in the chat box. So please catch it. That's johnyaboth.com/free. The winners also each get 5 free tickets. Okay? So John, hindi ko pa kilala kung sinong isasama ko. It's okay. You don't need to enter your name now. You can enter it next week or by Thursday or by Friday. Basta don't do it on the day itself because you need to register the day before the workshop. Sabi ni John, our dog likes eating choco ice cream. Okay. Congratulations to all the winners. Face-to-face lang po ba ang event? Yes, it is a face-to-face workshop. If you're interested, however, to join our online courses and you have to enroll for 499 pesos, you can just go to our website, jonathanyabut.com. Oh, sabi ni Ivy Belesta, pwede po akong isama sa mga walang kasama. Pwede naman. Just message the folks who don't have yet any companions. Okay, let's wrap this up. I think we can answer 2 to 3 more questions before we end our session. So again, our topic is about sharing some best practices for job hunting. So a big chunk of what we've discussed a while ago were about preparing your resumes and also preparing your answers for the job interview. Okay, here's a question on YouTube from Shaina. Shaina with the letter Y. Sir John, here's a classic question. How will you answer the question, what is your weakness? Very popular answer to, no? Question to, no? So, 2 things. Number 1, you can give any weakness that you can. You can. Sometimes people are very strategic. Sabihin nila, my weakness is that I work so hard. And I understand it's a way for you to say that your weakness is actually a strength for the company because you work so hard. So try to avoid those kinds of answers these days because gas-gas na yan. And most recruiters will think that you're just positioning yourself. Okay? So you might want to be more authentic. You can be more vulnerable without having to incriminate yourself. So say something, what I would rather do, ang gagawin ko, for me, strategic, I will try to avoid answers involving relationships because usually that turns off a lot of recruiters. Relationship meaning, madali akong mang-away or may nakaaway ako, meron akong hindi nakaget along. No matter how much you say it in a nice way, it's always gonna cast doubt to the recruiter that you might not have the right personality and therefore they're not gonna bank on you. So avoid that. So I'd rather that you focus instead on skills. Talk about a weakness on a certain skill. Why is that important? Skills can be learned. Skills can be improved. So even if you tell them that the weakness is a skill, kunyari, let's say, I have a lot of things to do. I have a lot of things to learn more about using spreadsheets. Or I am not as creative yet when it comes to crafting PowerPoint slides. So those things are skills. So it's good to tell them because magigets agad ni recruiter na, okay, it's a matter of training. It's also a matter of time. Okay? Number two, if you talk about your weakness, don't just talk about the weakness per se. Talk about what you have been doing lately to fix the weakness. Kasi ang gusto ng mga recruiters is self-aware siya na meron siyang problema, pero meron siyang ginagawa about it. Hindi siya static problem. They're improving it. So on the second half of your answer, say something like, I am not good in X, but for the past 12 months, what I have been doing to improve it is X, Y, and Z. Okay? Does that make sense? Oh, sabi ni Jan Miel, I cannot go face-to-face for the workshop. Sorry, Jan Miel. This is a live workshop, unfortunately. Okay? So please contact us instead. We can just give you alternatively access to our online courses. Okay? However, Jan Miel, since sinabi mo yan, because I want to be fair, ito na lang gagawin ko. I'm gonna look for another winner na lang on LinkedIn. I hope that's okay. Because we can give away the tickets to someone else who can benefit from it. I hope that's okay. Kahit hindi LinkedIn, maghahanap na lang ako ng sagot from, who's the next one? Who was the next person who correctly answered the question agad? Ayan, sige. My next winner instead, I'm gonna give away the tickets to Pau Papa. Congratulations to Pau Papa. In case you missed it, this is the link, johnyabout.com/free. Pau Papa from Facebook. Please go to this website. Here's where you can claim your tickets. Ano daw yung free na included sa price? The ticket. You get to learn. You get to attend the workshop. Libreng kiss if you want. Magbeso-beso tayo when you see me in the workshop. Kasi Jan Miel daw is not in the Philippines right now. Okay. So Jan Miel, just message us. We're gonna give you access instead to our online courses. Oh no, okay. Sige, let me give one more prize. Sorry guys, let me just fix on the admin. Cesar Gonzalez says that he's also in the province. Kayo naman guys, so alam niyo namang live to eh. Huwag na kayo sumali sa mga contest namin kapag alam niyo namang live sa Metro Manila. Diba? I appreciate the enthusiasm, but let me give away the prize of Cesar also to someone else. So let's give the other ticket to Jonathan De La Cruz. Okay? Jonathan De La Cruz, congratulations. We're going to give you the tickets instead. Jonathan, here is the link, johnyabout.com/free. johnyabout.com/free. I-rewind mo na lang yan if in case you miss it now. Okay, another question on TikTok about job search. Any tips on LinkedIn? Okay, question. This is from Maribel. Maribel's asking TikTok. John, you said that everything is about volume, just like a raffle entry. Any tips on how I can improve my speed in applying to many positions as I can? Okay, here's one tip. If, let's say, for example, you are an auditor, do not limit yourself na kapag nagtatype ka ng keyword sa LinkedIn or sa job street, ang ilalagay mo lang, auditor. Why is that bad? It means that you're only limiting the options to auditor positions. But let's say, for example, you're an auditor, but you're also an accountant. And you are open to accountancy positions. So you have to diversify your keywords. Sometimes, you don't need to be an accountant or auditor. Pwede kang mag-apply also, let's say, finance manager, right? Procurement manager. Whatever it is that you know that in your industry, you have to use multiple keywords. Because remember, the keywords will limit the universe. If you're only using a certain keyword, malamang, yun na talaga yung lalabas na available positions. So sometimes, konti lang sila, aakalain mo, walang vacancy, but that's because you're using the wrong keywords. I'll give you an example. Brand manager. Brand manager is not only brand manager. It can also be what? Marketing manager, marketing associate, marketing staff. Again, it depends on the position. But if you're using the wrong keywords, you're also going to miss out on other possible positions. So you have to be smart. What I recommend is, given the position of your current job, try to look and list down all the other potential names and labels that other companies are calling this position for. Okay? That's route number one. Route number two, you list down the 20 companies you usually want to work for. And then, once you've listed down all the companies, isa-isahin mo bawat kumpanya. You go to their LinkedIn page, you go to their job street page, and then that's where you put your position in their search box. That's another route. That's how you can easily multiply your chances of finding a vacancy for the role that you want, or the role that you're eligible for. Okay. Oh, sabi raw ni It's Me, hindi raw siya makaka-attend kasi raw face-to-face. Sige, let me call out another winner therefore on TikTok. I'm gonna give away the free ticket now to Mary Rose Orbinar. Okay? Mary Rose Orbinar, congratulations. I'll give one more kasi baka mami hindi pala kayo available lahat. I'm gonna give instead the other one to Tristan. Tristan. Congratulations to the two winners. If you're looking for the link on how you can claim your prize, that's johnyabout.com/free. johnyabout.com/free. Diane Jimenez on Facebook is asking, the final interview with the CEO is a logical test and the mechanic is answer as fast as I can. Is it a red flag? I don't think it's a red flag. And if this is a good company, they will not totally base the candidate, the successful candidate, if they're able to answer the question or not, just because of that question. I don't think so. They will be basing it from a lot of other things, including your past interviews. It is a red flag if the only reason for taking you in is because you answered the question correctly. Because you should not be gauging someone's corporate performance just because they were able to answer a question right. Ang daming mga tao, magaling sumagot ng mga IQ test, pero pagdating sa trabaho, bokya naman. Right? So, if this is a good company, I don't think they will just use that as the ultimate determinant for your application. Okay, let me answer one more question. I hope that's okay. Shucks, I forgot yung pala pinapakain yung mga dogs ko. Kailangan silang kumain na wine. Okay. Let's answer this. This is a last question from... okay. Ito na lang. I like this question from Joanne. Any tips for a panel interview? If it's a face-to-face panel interview, sometimes we tend to forget that we're only looking at one person and our eyes are only focused on that one person. If you're answering a question, engage the entire panel. If they're a panel of 3 or panel of 5, dapat parang performance yan ha. You have to look into all people's eyes. Otherwise, if you're only focusing your eyes into the person asking, mali-left out yung dalawang panelists. Feeling nila, di sila kasing importante. And sometimes those kinds of relationships do matter. Okay? That's one. Number 2, prepare a mindset that in a panel interview, iba-iba ang mga sagot, iba-iba ang mga magtatanong. Sometimes it's only one person kasi siya ang spokesperson. Sometimes it's multiple people as well. Third, hindi to normal, pero posible pa rin mangyari. If you have an opportunity at sinabi sa'yo agad ang pangalan ng mga panelist mo, how do you do that? It's either the HR says to you the names, or number 2, they will not tell you the names. But if it's a Zoom interview and it's a panel interview, you will see it because they are copied in the email addresses in the Zoom invitation. Now, what's the advantage? Get their email addresses, try to identify their names, or use their email address, cut and paste it on Google search, and probably you will be able to find out who these people are. Stalk them online. Why is that important? You'll have an idea who these people are, so you can anticipate likely what is the background of these people. And that can give you a clue to the kinds of questions that they will ask. If there is an engineer who is part of the panelist, this person might be more technical in their questions. If there is an HR person in the panelist, that means the HR does not have a good idea about the technical requirements of the job, but what they'll be looking out for is how you possess leadership skills, how you handle relationships, how you answer the question eloquently. So before you even enter the job interview room or the Zoom room, at least may idea ka na kung ano yung hinahanap. Okay? From that panel interview. Okay, let me answer ito na talaga yung last because I'm gonna extend for one more question because I think this one's important. Joe Mark is asking on Facebook, what questions should we ask after an interview? One is, ako favorite ko to, can you tell me about the culture of the company? And that's because this is not something that you publish on the website. It's also a good idea to see the authenticity if the HR is saying it with genuine heart. Sometimes kasi, and ako an experience ko to, sometimes when you tell them, can you tell me how amazing it is to work for this company? Or can you tell me about the culture of the company? And sometimes you will get to see HR recruiters frowning, not smiling. They don't sound authentic. And sometimes it's a red flag kasi parang ayaw niya yung trabaho niya, which might indicate that this is not a good company at all. That's one. Number two, you can talk more about the benefits. This is just me, but I don't think that you should wait for the second layer of interview to ask for the benefits and the salary. Because a job is a job. It's not for free. It's something that is a give and take. So if they did not raise anything about the compensation at the end of the interview, even on the first interview, I would ask that already. And I would not be apologetic. Don't even say, I'm sorry to ask this. You shouldn't say, be sorry. You're not giving away this job, right? You're not applying for free. You are an employee. It's a contract. It's a mutual relationship. Okay? Oh, Gladiators in Suits. So nakadalawa ako this week. Pumawi ako. So we'll go live again this week. We're going to have a very busy week, but we'll find time for this week. So thank you for joining us. Kung nabitin kayo, you can catch us on Spotify. Our podcast is From Grit to Great. Lots of discussions about career success. You can catch our best-selling books available in National Bookstore, available in Fully Booked, available in Lazada and Shopee. There you go. You can catch us there. Each book is 399 pesos as well. And we do sell bundles, discounted bundles of 3 or 4 in our Lazada and Shopee official page. And of course, if you'd like to see us live, face-to-face, you can catch us in our upcoming workshops. Folks, you can see it here. These are all our workshops. Same thing also for TikTok. You can go to our website, johnyabuth.com/talks. johnyabuth.com/talks. If people are asking what's my Spotify, you can just type my name, Jonathan Yabuth. I'm the only one who has a podcast with my name. The title of the podcast is From Grit to Great. Okay? And lastly, if you have HR folks, or if you're from HR yourself and you're looking for someone who can motivate your teams and inspire or train your teams, for the best folks to do that for you, you can go to our website, jonathanyabuth.com, to know more information about what we do in inspiring and training organizations. I'll see you guys soon. Thank you and enjoy the rest of your Sunday.